Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Bachman coming at you. I want to apologize for the lack of these videos coming out too fast. Not fast enough, I don't think. I have DSL here on my farm, so I couldn't get these things to load through Blackboard, so I'm just going to do them via YouTube and then post a link for you. All right. Um, And I also kind of put them in different sections on Blackboard for you. So there's a section for the agriculture, one for the non-renewable, one for renewable, and I'll, as I go through them, I'll add them. So everything will be in separate folders underneath the class videos folder for you. Okay, so I hope everybody watched that one video I linked up to. If you haven't, stop this video, go watch that one with John Daly in the Comedy Central where he talks about energy independence. And that video really cracks me up, especially at the end, because he calls Nixon a communist because he wanted to have affordable health care for all. And the funny thing is, if you look at Nixon's proposal back then, it is exactly the same thing as the Affordable Care Act. Obamacare is actually Nixon care. And believe it or not, back then people still wanted single payer, but we still haven't gotten it through. Crazy. We were talking about healthcare all this time, but we got the coronavirus going on. And if we had a single payer system, I think it would be a lot better. So let's look at the coronavirus update, see what's going on with this thing. I hope everybody is staying safe. And I just always have to laugh when I make everybody do that exponential growth video in the beginning. I hope all my students for the past 12 years now realize why I have them do that, right? Because the J curve is definitely showing up, right, into these linear scales. And you see here, this is the linear. So these are just the, the plotting of the cases. So it starts way back down here at 0, and now we're at over 400K. We've got about to be about 500,000. And sooner or later, this is going to get out of hand, and we won't be able to put this on a single chart. So they use what's called logarithmic, and we see the logarithmic where we do it in tens. All right, see 100 to 1K to 10K to 100K, and we plot that. And you see it started to bend down a little bit of the total cases, and there was a flattening of the curve that they talk about, but all of a sudden it jumped back up. Right, and I personally think this is just because we're actually counting them, right? Because this thing would still be rising up right around here if we had the total count, right? And the logarithmic, okay? You can see how the J curve was floating up, and you can see how this is going to get off the chart. We're not going to be able to keep this on one chart, so that's why we do it by the logarithmic. So everybody keep safe and notice the math. All right, because math's very important, and I think we forget the math. Okay, especially on that one video, they talk about how we're going to be energy independent and kick off fossil fuels all the way from Nixon to today, and they used to probably do it on the radio. And it really cracks me up because when we think about it, when I look at the picture, the United States can never be independent of foreign oil. We definitely need it to survive. And we're going to have to work out how to do that in the upcoming years. Okay, this website right here is called the Energy Information Administration website, and this collects all the data about the energy we use here in the United States. There's another one called the IEA, which is the International Energy Administration. This is the United States EIA, Energy Information Administration. They just collect data. All right, so you have everything you need here. Your crude oil prices today. Say, let's see what it's $24 a barrel on the spot price. Okay, it went down $2 from a week ago, $34 from a year ago. Holy guacamole! That is a huge drop. All right. So all your information you need to know here is here, and let's go over some of these petroleum numbers that we have here. All right. So first, let's look at the prices. Let's look at the prices. See how the prices have gone here for the oil. So we're going to use spot prices. Spot prices are the WTI, the Western Texas crude oil. as it comes out of the spout, basically, as it comes right through the little pipelines there. All right, so the spot price for that, you can see yeah, the WTI and the Brent. This is European, so this is the American spot price, and this is the European spot price. So let's graph these and see what the spot prices looked like over the years. Oh my gosh, look at that. All right. You see that oil's price has been nice and consistent around, 25 to, $30. 1990 went up almost to 50. What was this at $33 a barrel, all right? Underneath 25, right around this consistent rate for a long, long time. And if we take this price out back here to like the 70s, you'll see it was actually constant. And the 70s was a big disruption like this one right here. But it didn't last as long. It stayed nearly flat afterwards. But these price things is crazy. I mean, it was all the way up to what, $103, $126 a barrel in 2008. And this is when what's called the fracking boom, which we're going to learn about here in a little bit, took off. All right, because at $123 a barrel, the oil companies, the frackers, were able to make money. It's about $70, 60 to $70 a barrel oil where they could break even. Right, Saudi Arabia didn't like that, and they did some crazy stuff. OPEC cut back production or increased production, to say, and drove down the price of oil, and it was a big crash. And the American fracking industry really hasn't been able to come back since then. All right, prices have jumped up a little bit. All right, but you can see they crashed back down, and today they're down to to $28 yesterday, on the 16th. Okay, so this pricing scheme is really one of the craziest pricing schemes. We kind of saw that in the one a podcast. 1 barrel of oil is worth 40 years of manual labor. It's a lot of energy, and that energy is really what made us be who we are. All right. Um, but besides the crude prices, all right, let us look at the proven reserves. So we'll go crude oil plus these concentrate, because that includes all the fracking and stuff like that we have out there. Okay. And let me hold on. And if we look at this, we see we have the proven reserves. All right. And what proven reserves are what we know we have in the ground. Okay. So you can see way back when we thought we had, this is in millions of barrels, about 22 million barrels of oil in the ground that we could suck out and actually use as Americans back in 2009. And it's gone up, it's flown down because we didn't have too many discoveries, all right? But now we think that we have about 47 million barrels of oil in the ground that we could technically and feasibly, economically get out of the ground, right? And then we have our estimated production, okay, down here. And this is how much we actually get out of the ground, how much of that proved reserves that we get out of the ground. You can see it's actually increasing over time. All right, so we have definitely during that fracking boom, all right, we really increased our oil production, all right, 3.9 million barrels per year, all right. But where it cracks me up in this little scenario is when we actually do what's called math, right? So if you take that 47 million barrels of oil that we think we have in the ground, in right here, okay, that's 2018, and divide it by the production. So if we keep on doing what we're doing, that gives us a number of 11.81. Okay, and that number represents how much oil we have left in the ground. If we continue to consume this, produce this 3,900,084 barrels of oil a year, this 47,053,000 barrels will run out at that time frame. Actually, it's billion. All right, this isn't millions. 47 billion will run out in 11.8 years. So do you think it's actually feasible to even consider, a rational person think we're going to be energy independent or get rid of fossil or get rid of foreign oil? If we did, we run out in 11 years, 12 years. Now this number can go up and down, right? So we see here that we have revisions, increases, and decreases in the oil, new field discoveries. So we haven't found one in 3 years here, all right? But this still bumps up because of this. These numbers really, these extensions of new discoveries keep on increasing. All right, so we're not really finding any new really oil. We're just saying, hey, these are bigger than we thought they were. All right, but regardless, I mean that's kind of an insane little insinuation of what was going on there, of how we can keep on producing. Right. So why don't we look at one more graph if possible? Let's see where that would be. Yeah, crude oil. Yeah, production graph. Let's look at the production graph. So this is all of the United States productions. So we'll look for 1929 to 30. See, here this is monthly. So let's go on to annual, make it a little bit better. All right. You can see here we're going to learn about what's called peak oil. And a lot of times we said in the United States this was our peak oil time. This is when where the bell curve became into terminal decline. All right. We have a little blip back up here, but this is because of the 70s and the oil embargo and stuff like that. All right. Uh, but this is really a true point in time, in my humble opinion, because this is when we stopped pulling out the great crude oil that Jeb shot out in the ground and came bubbling up, right, out of the ground. This little spike here at the end is all fracking, baby. All right. We are fracking insane on this. All right, and that's why we have this big, huge rise in the late 20s, because the price of oil just skyrocketed up to over $100 a barrel, and we just started fracking the heck out of the world so we can get ahead of this. All right. So what is fracking? All right. Remember, fracking can be done either with for natural gas or oil. All right. Both of these are done. It's done the same type of way. All right. And fracking is very, very big here in the United States, especially in our backyard. All right. They're fracking the heck out of this area. All right. So and they're fracking for natural gas. They're not fracking for oil. Oil is being done in Texas and in the Rocky Mountain area. All right. The Rocky Mountain mountain range. Okay. Idaho and stuff like that. Okay. So let's watch this little video about fracking explained. Hopefully this isn't copyrighted. I think we'll be okay.
Or fracking. Since the Industrial Revolution, our energy consumption has risen unceasingly. The majority of this energy consumption is supplied by fossil fuels like coal or natural gas. Recently, there's been a lot of talk about a controversial method of extracting natural gas, hydraulic fracturing, or fracking. Put simply, fracking describes the recovery of natural gas from deep layers inside the earth. In this method, porous rock is fractured by the use of water, sand, and chemicals in order to release the enclosed natural gas. The technique of fracking has been known since the 1940s. Nonetheless, only in the last 10 years has there been quite a fracking boom, especially in the USA. This is because most conventional natural gas sources in America and on the European continent have been exhausted. Thus, prices for natural gas and other fuels are rising steadily. Significantly more complicated and expensive methods, like fracking, have now become attractive and profitable. In the meantime, fracking has already been used more than 1 million times in the USA alone.
We're fracking the heck out of the United States.
Gas wells are drilled by using fracking. Now, let's take a look at how fracking actually works. First, a shaft is drilled several hundred meters into the earth. From there, a horizontal hole is drilled into the gas-bearing layer of rock. Next, the fracking fluid is pumped into the ground using high-performance pumps. On average, the fluid consists of 8 million litres of water, which amounts to about the daily consumption of 65,000 people, plus several thousand tons of sand and about 200,000 litres of chemicals. The mixture penetrates into the rock layer and produces innumerable tiny cracks. The sand prevents the cracks from closing again. The chemicals perform various tasks. Among other things, they compress the water, kill off bacteria, or dissolve minerals. Next, the majority of the fracking fluid is pumped out again. And now the natural gas can be recovered. As soon as the gas source is exhausted, the drill hole is sealed. As a rule, the fracking fluid is pumped back into deep underground layers and sealed in there. However, fracking is also associated with several considerable risks. The primary risk consists in the contamination of drinking water sources. Fracking not only consumes large quantities of fresh water, but in addition the water is subsequently contaminated and is highly toxic. The contamination is so severe that the water cannot even be cleaned in a treatment plant. Even though the danger is known and theoretically could be managed, in the USA already sources have been contaminated due to negligence. No one yet knows how the enclosed water will behave in the future, since there have not yet been any long-term studies on the subject. The chemicals used in fracking vary from the hazardous to the extremely toxic and carcinogenic, such as benzol or formic acid. The companies using fracking say nothing about the precise composition of the chemical mixture. But it is known that there are about 700 different chemical agents which can be used in the process. Another risk is the release of greenhouse gases. The natural gas recovered by fracking consists largely of methane, a greenhouse gas which is 25 times more potent than carbon dioxide. Natural gas is less harmful than coal when burned. But nonetheless, the negative effects of fracking on the climate balance are overall greater. Firstly, the fracking process requires a very large consumption of energy. Secondly, the drill holes are quickly exhausted, and it's necessary to drill fracking holes much more frequently than for classical natural gas wells. In addition, about 3% of the recovered gas is lost in the extraction and escapes into the atmosphere. So how is fracking and its expected benefits to be assessed when the advantages are balanced against the disadvantages? When properly employed, this technique offers one way in the short to medium term to meet our demand for lower-cost energy. But the long-term consequences of fracking are unforeseeable, and the risk to our drinking water thus should not be underestimated.
So fracking, what a crazy thing. It works. We can get the stuff out of there. But one thing that the proponents or the opponents to fracking say, we haven't really studied it. We haven't really done the long-term benefits against the short-term benefits or long-term problems, right? Because you can see he talked about the very end of the video from the short to the medium range. He doesn't talk about the long range. Because if you do those same numbers that we just did with oil, oil, we got 11.8 years left. The industry says that if we frack all this natural gas, we will have about 12 or 90 years of natural gas left. And to me, that really isn't that much that long term, right? And then also remember, if we increase this natural gas and start heating all our homes with it and start making electricity with it, start driving our cars on it, that number is going to decrease, right? Because our production and our consumption is going to increase, and our stash that we have down underneath our feet is going to decrease. Okay, excuse me. But fracking is definitely one of the most popular things out there in today's world. Right, we are definitely fracking the heck out of places, and it's a big controversy. Um, and you might hear this on the campaigns on my campaign trail a lot. Right. So, chapter 15, we're going to talk about non-renewable energy sources and their impacts. And next time, we're going to talk about renewable energy sources. So, remember, like I said, there's a class on this about energy that you might want to take for an elective. I think it's Monday or Wednesday nights, one of the two, next semester. So, think about it. Okay, help a brother out. Let's get that class filled up. It's gonna be fun. So in this class, we're gonna go over some of the basic energy sources. Talk about something that's called EROI. We'll talk about the formation and extraction and of fossil fuels, the depletion of our supplies, the different unconventional and unconventional ways we get oil, and then uh, the politics behind it, and conservation, and then we'll also talk about nuclear power because that's, I don't know, that we put this as non-renewable in this chapter, but it's a weird energy source. I don't think it fits in either one of those, but we'll talk about that when we get there. The case study, of course, of this chapter is about fracking. All right, there's a company called Cabot Oil out there, and they were going after the natural gas um, in a place called Demick, Pennsylvania. All right, this little area right here. So this gray area is what's called the Marcellus Shale. And there's a lot of natural gas inside of this. And there's layers of shale layers. So they have to go down there and kind of blow it up a little bit and loosen up all that gas so that it comes pouring out. And what they do is they go up to the landowners because we live in America and we have private property rights. You own those minerals underneath there. Okay, you don't own the water per se that flows across that. If it's navigable, you don't own it. If it's non-navigable, you do. All right. But you also own the mineral rights, and they went up to those people and said, "Hey, we want to frack your land, and we'll give you a little bit of money." Right, and that really did some good, I guess. The economy really started taking off. All right, people were getting jobs, and more people were eating out at the restaurants. The farmers were able to get more horses or whatever. And it was just, it was a pretty nice. All right, it really was nice. But after a while, some of the residents began experiencing some contaminated drinking water. It smelled like chemicals. Some of them could even light their faucets on fire nowadays, and one of the wells actually exploded. So if you look at the industry standard, about 10% of these wells actually fail. There's a problem with them, whether that is through an explosion or that doesn't happen too often. Okay, that's pretty good safety. But leaks, methane leaks, and stuff like that. Okay. Um, and this problem to the water system in endemic was blamed on the hydraulic factory because it was good before, and then a hydraulic factory showed up, and then things changed, and the water was not as good as it was before. It was actually good poisoning, all right, and it really was not water that you wanted in your to drink out of your faucet, all right. Because some of the liquids return to the surface of the wastewater. So when we go down here and actually frack, we're exploding all this stuff. This stuff can actually percolate back up into the water table. All right. So if there's an aquifer right in here, it can just keep on going back up into the aquifer as it goes in. All right. And then when we suck it out, we also get bad. Okay. Um, so fracking, like I said, it greatly boosts the natural gas um, extraction. It helped out the economy a little bit of ways, but policymakers have encouraged fracking out there. I mean, Pennsylvania wants us to do it. All right. They've even given exemptions for the fracking industry out there. It's exempt from the Safe Water Drinking Act, okay, known as a Halliburton loophole. All right. And the National Environmental Policy Act. Okay, so they've gotten a lot of good goodies. And here in Pennsylvania, one of my biggest pet peeves is that the fracking industry is exempt from what's called a severance tax. So the severance tax is you take that old natural gas and stuff out of the land. We, the citizens of the United Pennsylvania, tax you a little bit of money so we can repair our roads. Right? In my road, I got fracking trucks going back and forth on my roads. Sometimes when that well was really getting fracked, I mean, it was insane. And I got 9 potholes from my driveway all the way up to that fracking road that need repaired. All right, and that's coming out of my money. I wish we had a severance tax. All right, they said, "Oh, we don't want a severance tax if they're not going to frack here." Where are they going to go? All the natural gas is actually underneath our feet. I mean, that's not going anywhere. And believe it or not, every other state has a fracking tax around us. All right, but it's crazy how they were able to do that. All right, but when it came to the Cabot industry endemic, they actually had to sign a little lease, and they had to actually bring in water for those citizens to actually drink and stuff like that. So the dispute still is not done with. All right, you'll see a lot of due current events and put fracking Pennsylvania, you'll see there's a lot of different studies that show that we still don't think that things are going right in the industry. Okay, so sources of energy. All right, humanity has devised many ways to harness renewable and non-renewable forms of energy, and it's important that we break these out. Okay, so non-renewable energies are basically our fossil fuels, our coal, our oil, and our natural gas. Coal is usually found in a solid form in that little rock, but we can make it into a liquid and a gas, believe it or not. All right, the oil is in a liquid form. All right, natural gas is in a natural gas. These can be interchangeable. All right, what we're doing with these is actually burning them. All right, that's exactly all we're doing is just burning this stuff. Right, and when you turn that heat, we convert that liquid, solid, or gas into heat, and then that drives something else. Drives the combustion engine for the steam, or the turbine for the electricity, or the wheels for the car. Right. Nuclear energy, um, it says it's non-renewable. That, but it takes a long time, so it's tough. Nuclear energy. We'll talk about this at the end of the section. Is something we really need to discuss as a society and decide whether or not we want to use it or not. Okay, and we'll go over that at the end of this chapter. And then we have what's called. So all these are non-renewable energies. It's not that they won't come again. It's just that they take millions of years to form that coal, that oil, natural gas, that fine French wine that has been fermented over time. All right. Then we have all of our renewable energies. All right. Biomass, hydropower, solar energy, wind, geothermal, and ocean. All those things that really come back in. All right. So these are acts of nature. Hydropower, like a dam, solar, sun and wind and geothermal and ocean. But biomass is basically any plant matter, and all plant matter is carbon, right? And it's actually like old coal and oil and natural gas, believe it or not, sort of. Well, natural gas is exhalation of anaerobic bacteria, but it's definitely oil and coal, right? Just old biomass energy that was stored a long time ago, right? So even, and that's why the only reason it's not renewable is that it takes millions of years to form into that fine French wine. But a tree, all right, is renewable because it might take 100 years to grow, but it's within quote unquote a human lifetime. So that's how we kind of distinguish it. If this energy can be come back within inside of a human lifetime, it's usually considered renewable. Like a tree, a plant, the wind, the sun. All right. If it takes a long time, like coal, oil, natural gas, and nuclear energy, all right, it's considered non-renewable. Most of the Earth's energy comes from the sun. I mean, most of it, almost 99% of it. The only energy that doesn't come is basically gravity and maybe the tides from the motion of the ocean, all right, or the moon's pull. All right, but everything really comes from the sun. It started from the sun, and then the plants took that sunlight, all right, those that hydrogen and helium molecule that was smashed together inside the center of the sun, 100,000 years ago, and finally made it to our Earth as sunlight. In a ray of sunlight, the plants took that, and converted that into chemical energy for us to be able to survive. It's amazing, right? And eventually, those plants and the organisms died off, and instead of decaying and going back into the cycle of life, they were covered up, and hence we got our fossil fuels. Oil is basically just leftover algae, the lipid oils in those algae in the ponds and swamps from a long time ago. The coal is just basically the trees and plant matter that got covered up and smashed around and pushed and squashed by the earth. Right, and then the natural gas is anaerobic bacteria. They exhale that methane, and lo and behold, it got trapped underneath the earth too. Okay, or in that shell rock that we're getting out now. But we use fossil fuels for a whole bunch of things. Transportation, locomotion, manufacturing, heating, cooking, electricity, everything. All right. It is it is what really drives the world today. Why we are able to do what we're able to do, and you can see the oil consumption going up since 1965. Increasing, coal consumption increasing, and natural gas increasing, and these are huge amounts. right? And this is what's really driving a lot of the climate change, folks, unfortunately, because we're taking the old carbon that was trapped in this algae, that was trapped in these trees and um, gases, and this natural gas, methane, that was trapped in the ground for years and years and years, and we're releasing it, increasing the amount of carbon in the atmosphere via the carbon cycle. And we need to somehow level that off first. All right, that's the first thing we got to do is just try to not put any more in, and then we'll get start planting some trees and getting that back down again. Okay, but over 80% of our energy use worldwide comes from these three main fossil fuels: from oil, coal, and natural gas. That's it. That's it. And this has not changed in ever. It's always really been that way. Maybe a little. There's about 12%. So because you have nuclear in here. Okay, um, it's changed maybe a little bit over time, but really, it really is the primary. All right, and then you can see here that oil really, all right, for electricity generation, oil is hardly even used. Oil is, our locomotion, folks. When I hear oil, I just think about how we're going to drive our cars. And if we already have, you saw in that world meeting, it was like 40 years left for the whole world, and we only have 11.8 for the United States. How are we going to drive our cars? All right. We can make coal, gasoline into coal, thanks to the Germans, of course, because they needed to run the war machine. And just like Cuba, they were shut off from the world, and that's how they made their diesel, right? Or I can switch to natural gas, but who knows what's going to happen, right? So we also need to remember that energy is unevenly distributed, just like any biome, and the temperatures and precipitation in certain areas aren't the same. The reservations of oil and coal and natural gas and are not the same either. All right, so you can see Venezuela um, has the world's largest percentage, more than Saudi Arabia. And who would have thunk it? All right, who would have thunk it? Canada is second or third. Iran and Iraq, we're not even on the list. All right, we do make the list for the natural gas, but we only have 4.7 percent of the world's oil, natural gas. All right, and then for coal reserves, of course, we got plenty of coal reserves. Okay, we're number one in the coal reserves. So we talked about Adam Smith's Wealth of Nations, and it's definitely these fossil fuels is some of the wealth of those nations. Okay, I don't think that Iran, has all this natural gas and it has a whole bunch of oil, but look what's happening to them. Unbelievable. How's that happen? All right, and here we are. We just have the natural gas. We're not even. I think we're like 2% of the oil reserves. Unbelievable. Okay. So, but in general, the industrialized countries, all right, consume way more fossil fuels than the less industrialized countries. And developing countries tend to use energy for subsistence just to be able to live, while the developed countries, kind of like it. We actually use it to, live a more lap of luxury. Okay, and the next section we're going to start getting into a little bit of that and some more of the energy. So I'm going to cut it off here because I think I'm around 30 minutes and I don't want to make them too long. So if you guys have any questions, give me a call or give me an email or a text or a call if you want. All right, remember, stay safe and then look for another one. I'm going to post this one as fast as I can, I hope. I got to go out and run an errand while it downloads to YouTube, and then I'll come back and start doing some more of these. And hopefully, this YouTube thing is going to work out okay. All right. So everybody, stay safe and stay contained. All right. Thanks. Bye.